So I had a horrifying dream last night that disco was actually making a comeback. First I was afraid. I was petrified. But actually I went in the kitchen and you know me, clumsy as fuck. I accidentally rubbed some ketchup in my eyes, which was painful. Now I have hindsight.
Jesus.
I ran into a lamppost yesterday. Luckily, I only sustained light injuries. And and lastly, I just wanted to tell you that just a bit of a confession that I've been addicted to time travel pills, but luckily that's all in the past. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Black Dog, episode 213. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
I'm Elton.
Oh, come on, give me props for the bloody Synchronic joke. Come on. Come on.
You can have a lovely red flower. How about that?
Thank you for that. Lovely. A single desultory clap. Brilliant. Thank you. All right. The sarcastic third clap was unnecessary. Anyway, this week we will see how everyone's week's been, and then we will move on to questions and answers with asking for trouble. And if we have any feedback, we will for last week's episode, we will then we'll read that out as well. But then we will move on to this week's movie, which was, whose pick was this? Elton?
This was
Jim's. Yeah, Jim's. Your pick, which was
Synchronic.
Synchronic. There you go.
Not to be confused with the Cypress Hill album.
No.
Don't do the two together.
Don't do Cypress
Don't
Hill.
take hits from this bong.
Don't take Cypress Hill bongs with Synchronic bongs. But anyway, we'll get to that soon enough. Let's see how everyone's week's been. Jim, how's it been, sir?
Not too bad. I know I'm tempting fate here, but I did some DIY successfully. It's going rather well.
Oh dear.
Yeah,
oh dear. You said it now. Yeah, go on.
Well, Teresa said she's going to buy a cold frame, so to put seedlings in while we're growing little stuff before they get transferred to the full allotment we've now got.
Okay.
And so this came in kit form. So obviously it was my job to put it together. And actually, despite some crappy instructions, we did get it together pretty well.
Right.
And then I got ambitious because it's all like sort of treated wood. But I thought, you know what, actually, wood rods. I should do this properly, shouldn't I? I've got I've got a tin of paint left over from when I actually painted like the bathroom windowsill. Proper like matte gloss, quick drying. Like,
he was in Bros, wasn't
he? He was. And Hellboy too.
And Hellboy
too. But yes, I thought, I'm going to paint this. So, I literally, this obviously, I thought, yeah. Because this is obviously like a big wooden frame in various compartments and mainly like perspex on the sides. And so I'll mask all this off so it'll all be nice and neat. And I was kind of, you know what? I perhaps should have done this masking all right here before we put it together, because that would have made life a lot more easy. About trying to, doing kind of like the Western equivalent of yoga to try and bend around.
Yeah,
well, I got it all taped up, and like today, I got out. Actually, we had actually good weather today. It's going to be good weather tomorrow, so I had a coat of white paint this morning. I'll have another coat tomorrow, and that should be it. Jobs are good, and then I've just got to get all the masking tape off, and it should look really, really smart. So I have tempted fate now, because I'll get up tomorrow morning, and having said all this, I'll find a fox has shat on it or something like that.
Well,
but there we are. So we've got a bit of a cliffhanger for next week there.
Did the paint make it through the night?
Well, who knows?
Who knows? Oh, right. Okay.
So the other thing is, I mean, like every day my dad rings me on a morning, he's on his own. He always rings to check in. I mean,
Yeah.
talking about the news and God knows what else.
Mhm.
With him quite blissfully in a way, I have work to do as usual. But recently, he's just discovered. I think how many? It was on one of the streaming services. They've got like the full archive of Boston Legal. And he started watching that. He'd seen a few before, but he's now gone back to watching them all, and he's binging them, so doing a few a night.
Mhm.
And he's come up with a theory that Trump's entire persona is based on Daddy K.
Oh, what? based on William Shatner?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, my
But
God.
the kicker is, my dad has a knack of mispronouncing things. Like COVID is Kovic.
Oh, right.
Hard drives come in gigabytes, despite me telling him the gigabytes. And I'm sure he does it deliberately. But he's come up with a new one. He keeps talking about how good the performance is by that actor, William Shafter.
He's the dad of Bobby, isn't he? Mr. Long Shafter. Richard Shafter. Anyway, oh right, okay. Bobby Shafter went to see
William Shafter.
William Shafter. Good Lord. Okay.
Played James T. Church on Space Trek.
Yeah. James D. Kick. Yeah. That well-known footballer. Oh, right. Okay. And
That's been amusing me this week. I'm easily pleased.
That's fine. Parents say the darndest things.
Shit my dad says.
Yeah, there.
Deep
cool.
cut. There you go.
Nice. Yeah, shit my dad says. Yeah.
My dad wrote a porno. Yeah.
Oh God, yes. My dad wrote a porno. That's terrible. That's a podcast throwback if there was one. Cool. Yes. So lovely. Anything else, sir?
No, I leave that there. I think that's enough of
Brilliant.
my mischief.
Okie dokie. And what about you then, Elton?
Well, I got tied up in a bomb drill this week.
Oh yes, I remember being sarcastic about this on Blue Sky. Yeah, go on, carry on.
I can't remember what I put on there.
You said I've been in. I'm in a building with a bomb drill, and I said, "Do you get those in B&Q?"
That's right.
Bomb
Yes, I remember now. Yeah.
Yes.
So this was the highlight of my week. Very exciting.
Right.
I'm not going to say where it was because, man alive, we're fucked. We're so screwed.
Really?
Yes. So this building I was in had 9 stories in it.
Right.
And we heard over the tannoy. I was working with someone, and we heard over the tannoy some mufflings about people with like letters before their names should come down to the foyer to do some training or whatever it was. And all these people from their offices, they all got really excited. They all put their high vis on, and they're like, "Oh, isn't this exciting? We get to wear high vis."
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And so everyone's hyped up on excitement on high vis, and they're in the foyer, and we hear various things coming across the PA system, and we're like, okay, fine. And we just happened. I brought in a ladder. There was all these people in the foyer, and I had to walk through with a ladder, and I didn't know what the hell was going on because it wasn't explained correctly. And so I knocked on the door, and I said, "Is it all right to bring this ladder in? And I need to bring this in." They were, yeah, come in. So I walked this ladder right across this room, plopped it up against the wall where I needed it, and then went to walk out. And they went, "Oh no, you can't leave." I went, "Oh,
why?"
What do you mean? "Oh no, you can't leave. You might ruin it." Okay, I don't know what it is, but
Ruin it.
does anyone want to explain? And I heard other people talking about a bomb drill, and I was like, okay, wicked. Now, straight away, you think they've planted a bomb somewhere in the offices. Man, I hope it is like 2 sticks of dynamite and a clock. I really hope it's
Or
that.
maybe a big round one, right? With a little
Yeah, big
fuse on
round
top.
one, like Batman was carrying around.
Exactly.
Yeah. Circular one with the sort of Danger Mouse style with the fuse in the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
You try to run it to chuck it over there, but there's a set of ducklings, and then you go that way, and there's like an old person in a wheelchair, and
Well, I never did get to see the bomb, which was really disappointing. But they had placed a bomb in this building, and man, it was just organized chaos. It was awful. So we were sat there, stood there in this foyer with all these other people, looking like they were responsible for their floors. So these were the team leaders for the floors, and they were downstairs. And I'm like, well, surely they should be upstairs doing stuff, shouldn't they? And they're like, oh, no, we're delegating it to other people. So, all right, okay.
so you're off down the pub then.
The idea is that they phone down to the main hub, the foyer, where they have someone who's kicked out the security, and they've taken over the system because they're very important, because they're in a high vis. You can't tell how exciting it is to have office staff in high vis. It's incredible. It's like catnip. But each floor had to scan their floors, go through all the toilets, go through all the stairwells and everything under every single desk, and then report back if their floor is clear or not. And so every now and again, 3 minutes in, they had stopwatches and everything. It was incredible. So they got to like 3 minutes, and floor 9 had phoned back saying, "Yeah, we're clear." And they're like, "Okay, great, tick." And floor 5, yeah, tick. Floor 1, yeah, tick. And this is going on.
Floor 10.
That's where the helicopters come to.
What are you doing on the roof, Hans? Yeah.
So this carries on, and then floor 3 phoned back and say, "Yeah, we're clear." And this woman went, "Are you sure?" We went, "Yep, we're good."
Are you sure?
Right, do you want to check again? So they went away for 2 minutes, and they came back and went, "Yep, we're clear." Right. Are you definitely sure you're clear? Because have you checked everywhere? The toilets, the under the desk, everywhere. Oh, yeah, we've done all that.
The cupboard marked bomb.
Have you checked that bomb-looking thing over there? That one. Just that. Yep. No, to your left. No, that one. How many bomb-looking things do you think there are? Okay.
Have you looked at the ticking coffee machine?
Yes. Okay, so let's see. Now, this thing's a bit of an anagram, I think. It says BMOB. What do you think? What do you think that's an anagram of? What? No, you're not. Okay, all right.
What is a B mob anyway?
It's back with a vengeance, talking about something that is a menace. ACIE. Sorry.
Hang on, I'm looking at it in the mirror.
Oh, is that what it was? Oh, right.
Bring me my detonators.
So yeah, this carried on for a bit, and there was clearly a bomb on the 3rd floor, but nobody could find it or be asked to find it or wasn't taking it seriously. And then I think like the 3rd time that they were sent back to look, then they came back. Oh yeah, we found something. Oh really? Did you? Oh okay. Well, we'll tick you off. So then, can you bring everyone down, please? And they opened all the fire exits and brought everyone down, and the glee on everyone's face as they were getting off for 15 minutes off of work was just incredible. And I loved the way you're told just to leave all your stuff back in the office, and everyone comes out with their coats and bags as if they're leaving for the day. It's incredible.
It's unsurprising, really, when you say it's a bomb drill. Everyone's like, yeah, well, I'm not going to stand out in the freezing fucking cold just to make this a little bit more realer. I think I'll
Drill?
go. I think
isn't,
I'll.
isn't that a monkey? No, that's a mandrill, you fucking plum. Oh, right, okay.
So yeah. I'm so glad I don't have to worry about those things anymore.
Oh, dear.
Fucking bomb and fire drills and all that. Yeah, I know what you're saying about the bloody high vis. It's like you get all the same. It's the same type of people every time. It's always the PAs and the safety officers, HR people who are really, really into their uniform.
All pulling on their little todgers.
That's it. And if they're really lucky, they got a whistle or a clipboard.
Was that part of the drill?
No, they had laminated. They had laminated sheets which said annex, first floor, second floor, up to ninth floor, and
Nice.
the glee on their faces. They held that aloft as if they're the most important person in town at that moment. And there's me and my work colleague, and we're like, okay, where do we go? We're just following you guys. And we watched these people snake all the way across. They obviously mapped out a route to get to this position away from the building, but it's a big enough area to congregate in. But the only safe way to do it, instead of like running around with your hair on fire going, oh my God, there's a bomb, to the safe point, they want you to take the crossings in the correct fashion. And watching this snake of people just go across in Basildon was just incredible.
When we used to have fire drills at Cartoon, unfortunately we had to sort of congregate out behind the building, and that was right next to the HMV, and they could never ever get a full head count because people would just wander over to HMV and just go looking through the shops. There'd be people going, we've only got 120 on the head count. Where's the other 300? Are they still in the building? No. It used to go on for hours. By which time I bought an entire box set, played a couple of games on the Xbox display, tried out those headphones. Been brilliant. Yeah. Oh, nice. So you're not going back to that building again, are you? Or are you?
Well, unfortunately, we had to return and carry on what we were doing. And they were like, oh, we're really sorry it's taken up all your time for today. I'm like, I don't care. I needed the time. Thank you very much. Book an extra for this. This is wicked.
Yeah. You sure you don't want to go through a second time? You sure?
Yeah.
Go check floor 7. What about the basement? That's where I'd put a bomb if I was going to put a bomb anywhere.
Are we getting hot or cold? Give us a clue.
Just the way that they sent them back saying, I'm so glad I wasn't there on that floor at that time, because it must have been embarrassing.
Yeah. And I bet they never really found it either. They just confessed that they found something and
got it. Yeah.
Yeah. We got it. Hold on, we're near the executive coffee machine. We're not normally allowed in here. We're still looking. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. and then they get downstairs and you think, oh God, I've got to do another 3 hours. Fuck it. Then you run out, get to the phone, go, Alu Akbar in reception. Just watch it all kick off again. Yeah, I'm just gonna mark that down for another 6 hours. Go sit in my car.
I wish. But yeah, it's just the way that people are nowadays. God, I hate the 20s. 20s are shit. They can't come. The end of these can't come quickly enough.
Well, look, mate, we're on a sliding slope.
Yeah.
2000 was as good as it was going to get. We got a new Star Wars trilogy. We got The Matrix. After that, it's been downhill ever since. Yeah. As soon as we worked out, Phantom Menace was the beginning of the end.
What I'm terrified about is getting into the 30s and going, oh God, give me the 20s back, please.
Jesus Christ! just don't. Just don't. We've got 5 more years. We can just keep focused on Horizon. Yeah, exactly. We'll be listening back to this podcast on our homemade radios made out of hair and magnets.
Does anyone have a cat's whisker?
I don't have a cat, but I do have a massive irradiated rad roach outside. Maybe I can nick one of its hairs. Oh, yeah.
But that was it, I'm afraid. That was the total excitement for my week.
That's okay. So, so you've been Hans Gruber for a while.
Yeah.
That's
Shoot
exciting.
the glass.
Lock him in the basement. He can do what he likes there, and then afterwards you can tear the entire place apart. Shut him in there. Lock him down. Anyway.
We'll be sitting on the beach earning 20%.
You wanted a Christmas miracle. I give you the FBI. Anyway,
the quarterback is cold.
This is turning into the alternate
Don't say
Robocop.
Yep. Oh, days since Robocop was mentioned. Zero.
Right. Don't do it.
Record of 4 days.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Right. Anyway, so Darren, how was your week, mate?
Well, apart from stuff at work, which I can't talk about, which has been very stressful. This week, I did go to the cinema. Yes, I did. Myself and Ree went, and we went to see Novocaine, which is a film about a young man called Nathan Kane who has a condition that stops him from feeling any pain. Right. And I really enjoyed the film. Ree not so much, but I did. I like some little touches in it. Like it actually if they show you his house and things like the corners of tables have got like tennis balls over them so he can't hurt himself.
Right.
And it's lovely little attention to detail. Like when he goes to have a cup of coffee, he's got this great big chunk of ice in the cup so he doesn't burn his tongue.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
And that kind of thing. And it's even to the point where he's not allowed to chew anything. So all his food is liquid. So he doesn't bite his tongue off, right?
Right.
He wouldn't be able to feel it. Something I must admit kind of gets forgotten about after a little while. But there you go. But he works in a bank, and what I'm telling you, you can see this in the trailer anyway. He starts a relationship with a girl that he knows who works in the bank as well. And just as they get this off the ground, they're both in work, and the bank is robbed, and she is kidnapped. And so starts him off on this thing of him going off to try and rescue her. And yes, lots of action, lots of very, very painful action. And also some nice little moments where he uses the painless thing to his advantage. Quite funny as well. There is a scene where somebody's trying to hurt him and he's pretending to be hurt, and he's just it's so badly acted. It's funny. Yes. Oh, yes, that hurts. Ow. Oh, God, yes.
Oh, my life. Oh, no.
Yeah. Oh, that was the worst. Ouch. So, lots of action in it. There's lots of comedy in there as well. I really liked it. If you've got some time to go to cinema, check it out.
And Ree didn't.
She liked it, but not as much as I did. She was, she, I don't think she felt the, she got the film like I did. So there you go.
Oh, all right.
I can't really say much because it's there's like it's a bit of a spoiler.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah, I think there's something that kind of dampened her liking of the film.
Okay. I shall say no more. I shall ask nothing.
Yes,
okay.
Do that.
Okay.
Stop questioning me. Spoilerific.
Fine. Cool. Anything else?
No, No, not really.
No, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool.
That's
No problem.
about it, I'm afraid.
That's cool. That's not a problem. In which case, my week, mainly work stuff. So again, I can't talk about that. Just makes me go grrr, arg.
We make some great podcasting moves, me and you, Lee, don't we?
Yes.
You know, you think about it, there's stuff that happens we can't talk about. Yep, fantastic.
Well, it used to be all right when I was at Cartoon, and I used to be able to sit there and talk about all the crazy shit that people would do, like pretend to be R2-D2 by driving around on fucking wheelie bins and shit. Now I don't get to do any of that.
No, not at all.
No. I mean, no. We had a little weekend down in Brighton. That was nice. Me and Carol, while the girls were house sitting elsewhere. So that was quite cool. No, we're going around Brighton, and it's just like walking up and down the promenade, and it's all very sunny, a bit blowy, but having a bit, fish and chips out on the promenade.
Oh, very
lovely.
nice.
Very nice. And then for reasons that don't immediately make much narrative sense, we just walked past, and there was the Museum of Wind Turbines.
Museum of what?
Wind turbines.
Wind turbines.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a museum of wind turbines.
So did you just breeze in? That's what you did. Yeah.
I wasn't a fan.
Well,
Did you have to leave?
Was there a sound? No. It was a wind turbine, Elton.
I was going to say, did you have to leave because you had an embarrassing case of wind? Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly that. But no, I went in there. It was free. And do you know what I learned? In there? We went round there, me and Carol, and there was a few other people in there. Mm-hmm. And we went round and we looked at all the exhibits. And you know what I learned? Wind turbines are fucking boring. There was me, Carol. There was a family with a black Labrador, and both me and the black Labrador passed an expression that just went, "Why?" It's just like, what? What are we doing here? And we turned down the virtual reality experience of the wind turbines.
Really?
So yeah. It was...
Oh man, that's the chef's kiss of the entire
yeah, that
experience.
was it. But yeah. So other than that, we went to went to an Italian restaurant, which was really nice in the evening, and yeah, and then was shocked to discover that we were being served by a waitress who happened to be went to the same primary school as my youngest daughter and still remembered us. It was like. He's like, oh, hello. It's like, hello, how can I remember you? It's like, what? Who? Well, who are you?
Just tell me it's a good memory and not one involving a policeman.
Not exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what shot through my mind as well. I was like, what?
It wasn't me.
I'm sure
Shaggy defense. Yes.
I'm sure it's tale of mistaken identity. But no. So it's just like one of those kind of like, oh my god, you last time I saw you were about 2 foot tall and you couldn't, you had a
2 foot tall motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, and then other than that, Mother's Day, obviously. So did the Mother's Day thing of taking my mum round the garden centre. And that's about it, really. Oh, and Carol and I have started watching The Lincoln Lawyer on Netflix.
Lincoln Lawyer.
Yeah, there was the movie version, which was Matthew Mahogany. All right. But it's actually it's like an ongoing sort of just crime thriller thing. And it's on Netflix, but it's actually, I've now found out, it's a spin-off from Bosch.
Oh, right.
Which I've been watching, because it's actually set in the same area, and in fact, the bloke has a house that looks very similar to Bosch's. and it's just an amiable sort of crime thriller, sort of like lawyer thing, and I'm really enjoying it. It's just what I call goes down well with a nice cup of tea, missus kind of thriller. You're sitting there, you kind of you watch the characters, you like the characters, they're slowly unfolding a criminal conspiracy while also having every week to come in and do like lawyery stuff and solve, get different clients off of their charges. It's like I say, it's not going to break the world. It's not going to make you go, oh wow, everyone has to watch this. But you watch it and you sit there and you enjoy it, and the characters are all nice and fun, and the action isn't much action. It's all kind of courtroom drama kind of stuff. But I enjoy it. It's really cool. And like I say, you can tell if this had been on Amazon instead of Netflix, Bosch would definitely have been in a crossover, but because the two companies are completely separate, the two characters can't interact. So there is so there's definitely like at some point Amazon's going to buy this series, and then there will be crossovers again. But at the moment, I'm enjoying it. It's quite fun. And that's about it, really. That's been my week, really. So there you go. But let's steer away from that for a second to ask a question or two.
There are more questions than answers.
Oh yes, after our fantastic Forkageddon last week, people dug that on the Facebook group, but we haven't got any Forkageddon style questions. But as ever, if people have left questions on the Black Dog Asking for Trouble thread on the Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast, and the first question is from the Reverend Peter Organ of the Borgcast podcast, and he just simply asks, "Can you fly, Bobby?" Days since Robocop quotes, 0. So at some point we are going to do Robocop again, and it's just going to be nothing but just quotes. It will. We also got go through them again. Oliver Monk would like to know, who is the best Doctor Who and who is your favourite Doctor Who?
Ooh.
I need to Google names. Hang on a second.
You do need to. Yeah, I think
don't know names.
I was going to say, I think we need to. We got to give you a bit of leeway here, Elton. I suspect. Yeah. So we'll move to you, Jim, while Elton Googles.
What's the question again?
Who's the best Doctor Who, and who is your favourite Doctor Who? Implying that doesn't necessarily have to be the same.
That's a good one. I think probably the best one is Patrick Troughton, because he's the one that generally when actors who get on the role are asked who's their favourite, they all say Patrick Troughton,
right?
Because they all look to his performance as the guiding light.
Ah, okay.
And it comes up time and time again. And I think kind of William Hartnell was the first, but Hartnell's Doctor kind of evolved over time. Whereas Troughton just really nailed it kind of the doctorness in place.
Right.
And that's and so it is interesting that every actor who gets the role, when they're asked, well, what Doctor are you most influenced by, or which do you like the best? They always say Patrick Troughton. So I'd say he's the best. But my favourite, of course, is one kind of split between John Pertwee and Tom Baker, because they're the ones I grew up with.
Fair enough.
And it's kind of, it's kind of the one you grow up with is when you will always have that attachment to.
Okay, that's cool. I understand that. Darren, do you have one? Do you have an answer for this?
Well, I've got to say, where the best one's concerned, I Patrick Troughton. I only watched one of his stories many years ago for Black Dog, but what I loved about his doctor in that episode was he didn't showboat his victory. He just went, "Come on, let's get in the TARDIS and get the fuck out of here now."
Yeah.
Before somebody comes over and slaps me on the back.
Wasn't it episode
it's
5?
such a
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh, yes. No, it was episode 4 because episode 5 never ever appeared.
That's right. Yeah.
It disappeared.
Episode 4 that never appeared.
No, episode.
No, that was
5.
Babylon 4 that disappeared, wasn't it?
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Babylon
Like
4
that,
disappeared, and then Black Dog 5 disappeared.
Yep.
It can be a dangerous place.
But it's the last best hope for podcasting.
It is, yes. So I would say I'd probably say it's very hard. I know what my favourite one is, and I don't know if this is going to be a bit of a controversial choice. I don't think, and I wish he'd done just one more season, because by the time he found his feet, it was his last season. He's also the doctor with who's made my favourite speech, which is a speech you could just use in just about any conflict situation, and it doesn't have to mean Doctor Who at all, because it resonates so much, and that is Peter Capaldi. I loved his Doctor. He had a bit of a shaky start to begin with, but by the end of it, man, that guy just had it down pat. I loved his Doctor. I thought his Doctor was great.
Yep.
And the whole War of the Zygons, the speech about how many children will die screaming, and it's just like you could literally sit two warring factions down and you could just fucking all smack them in the face with that speech. If that doesn't make you fucking think about your fucking life choices, I don't know. It gets me every time I hear it. No matter how many times I see it on YouTube, I can feel myself choking up when I listen to that. It's just, man, whoever wrote that should have just got a fucking BAFTA just for that one speech.
Yeah.
So, I'd say Peter Capaldi. That's it for me. Yes. Yep.
Okay. For me, kind of falling back on Jim's thing, you always remember your first. I think the best, and I never watched any Troughton, so I'm a little shortfalled here, but I think the best has got to be the Tom Baker option, simply because he's the one who I think he was the one that if you think Doctor Who, that's who you think. I don't know about modern audiences, but that's the iconic look, the scarf, the hat, the crazy eyes, the just randomness of just pulling jelly babies out and offering them to aliens who are about to blow your head off.
Was it the longest running Doctor?
Yeah. No,
10 years.
Not anymore.
No?
Not anymore.
Who's the longest running one?
Tennant's now the longest running one.
That's a bit of a... No, I mean straight run.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think he was.
No, Tennant was only 4 years. Tom Baker was 10. Nearly 10 years.
I'm not gonna fight the argument on that one because I don't know for sure. But I always thought that was the whole point. Is he
Baker was from 74 to 81.
Oh, there you go.
David Tennant was from 2013 to 17. Sorry, I lost all words. But I thought you guys would have known this stuff.
Oh, listen to Captain fucking Wiki over there.
It's easy to be knowledgeable when you've got fucking Google in front of you, and it really is, mate.
Yeah.
Right, okay?
Yeah, don't worry.
Rest my case, Your Honour.
He's gonna. I said good day.
I said good day, sir.
Anyway.
We need to go back to Victorian speaking because I want that to become a thing.
I said good day, sir.
I said good day, sir.
Yeah. But also, so as far as I'm concerned, Baker was the best. Not necessarily my favorite, but he was the best. My favorite is Capaldi because we did a rewatch over COVID. The girls had watched Doctor Who, but they hadn't watched it like properly, and we did a whole thing of every night we'd watch an episode on iPlayer. and over COVID, and we got into it, and it's interesting to watch Capaldi again after watching all the others in quick succession, and you suddenly realise that once the writers calmed down from trying to write him as fucking Malcolm Tucker,
Yeah.
the writing really comes into its own, and some of the one-liners that come off him were absolutely brilliant. You know, with like Davros going, "I'm dying, doctor," and he goes, "You keep saying that. But you're not dying. Will you give it some welly?" You know, this sort of thing. And
Look at these eyebrows; they're furious.
they're furious. Yeah, don't look in that mirror. It's furious. But you know, it's like, you Daleks, you may also be wondering why I'm sitting in Davros's chair, but that's not the mystery. The mystery is, why am I drinking from this teacup, and where did I get the tea? You know, your friend Pete was standing here a moment ago. He stepped on a butterfly. Now you don't even remember him. Pete? I don't remember him. I like the Pete. Yeah.
I love that episode where they turned it on his head and he had to pretend that he was going into the TARDIS for the first time.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's bigger on the inside.
Yeah. My turn. Oh, my mind! Non-Euclidean geometry. It's been completely broken. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. Look at these eyebrows. I could take bottle tops off with these eyebrows. Anyway, so for me, that character, the Doctor as personified by that character, even in his weakest episodes, I kind of aligned with. I'm Robin Hood. Has anyone punched you? No? First time for everything. So for me, I loved the whole run of Capaldi stuff. I mean, even the weak ones, just simply because you could just watch him when he turned up at the Vikings with a guitar, and he said, "Oh, I thought this was the wrong kind of axe battle." but anyway, so yeah, so I was genuinely sad to see him go at the end, and and then it's been downhill ever since. Coming in, Elton, you've had time to Google.
Mm-hmm.
What's your
Well, John Hurt was my favourite Doctor in War Doctor. When he was in the run-up to the show's 50th anniversary special, The Day of the Doctor.
That was the 50th, mate.
Yeah.
No. All right. So, the one, when you say Doctor Who, I don't watch this.
No.
But the one I think of... I know. But the one I think of is Peter Davison.
Right. Yes.
That's the one I think of.
Right.
And the dude in the film as well.
The dude in the film?
They did a film,
Paul
didn't
McGann.
they? In like the
What,
70s.
Paul McGann? Paul McGann or Peter Cushing?
I don't know.
I'll tell you what,
Peter
Elton.
Cushing movies in the 60s.
I was. What's the one where they're eating food and they have to do it all in time?
What?
And they're sitting in the canteen. They have to blend in with the people, and they sit down.
That's Dalek Invasion of Earth.
Okay. There
When
you go.
Bernard Cribbins is pretending to be a Robo Man, and he has to move in sync with all the robotized Dalek
That's
slaves.
it. Yes.
Yes.
Should we move on from this question, Elton?
I'm giving you my answers. There we go.
Fantastic. We'll move on to the next question. The next question, this one could go on for a while. Murray the Pieman Christensen, what is the stupidest way you've managed to injure yourself?
Oh, Jesus. I've punched myself in the face. I've punched myself in the face before.
You've punched yourself in the face?
Yeah, I think I was trying to pull off a top off something, and I was my hand slipped, and I just fucking smacked myself right in the chops.
Right, okay. Fair enough. Jim?
I gave myself the world's most rubbish tattoo by accident.
Sorry, you faded out there a little bit. What was that?
I said, I gave myself the world's most rubbish tattoo by accident.
How did you do that?
Well, listeners of a certain age might be aware of a phenomenon that starts to happen when you're in your 30s, of where your hand will just go, I'm holding this thing. I'm just going to chuck it away. You just drop something randomly.
Right.
And in this occasion, I'd been, I was waiting at a bus stop, and I pulled out my notepad, and I was just writing some stuff down so I didn't forget it. My hand just did this kind of like weird, I'm going to chuck this pen away for no reason. And it sort of dropped it. And I went sort of to catch it. And I sort of clapped the book to my chest, and so I was hoping to get the pen in as well. Now, the pen I was using was a permanent fine liner, because I normally drew with it. And I did indeed catch it. Now, I got the book, and then I pulled out my hand, and the pen was embedded into my palm.
Oh, Jesus.
So I pulled it out. It didn't bleed much. But to this day, just underneath kind of my third finger, there is a black dot. Because it was a permanent marker.
Jesus Christ. Right, okay. Well, we got punched in the face, stabbed by a permanent marker. Elton, what have you got?
I got 5 for you.
Okay. Now the stakes are going up. Go on in.
Do we need the Top of the Pops countdown music for this?
No, you don't know.
Down.
Greetings, pop pickers.
No, these are all a bit crap, really. But I cut my thumb when we was using a food blender, and the blade, I tipped it over, and the blade fell. I went to catch the blade, and I cut my thumb really deep.
Right.
I've still got the mark there now, and the moment it happened, I was like, "Oh shit!" And I saw bone. I was like, "Oh Christ!" And then I went faint. I went, "Kimmy, get me a chair." I forgot me a chair so I could sit down in the kitchen. The other injury on my hand, I was a young kid, and I was, for some reason, I don't know why, I was cutting. What was I doing? I was cutting cocktail sticks with scissors.
Oh God!
In my hand, and I cut like a V shape in my finger with that. Yeah. I've still got the scars there, so if anyone wants to see them, you're more than welcome to see them. I broke my little toe on my left foot running away from my mum because she bought me a boot bag for my football kit, and it was a Queen's Park Rangers thing. And I just walked in and went, "Oh." She went, "Oh, look what I've got here." I went, "It's Queen's Park Rangers." She went, "Yeah. You like blue?" They're rubbish. And
She's not how football works.
I've never seen a face like this on my mum before. Never. And then never since as well. And she chased me up the stairs. And I ran up the stairs. I turned right. I don't know why, because that's my brother's bedroom. And I caught my little toe on the skirting board running away. And I turned it 90 degrees. And she didn't believe me until I took my sock off and showed her. She was like, oh dear. And then it was all forgiven. And hang on, that was that and that. And I also, someone else did this to me, but I was working on a site in Tilbury Power Station, and someone had to pass me down a car jack. You know, the triangular car jacks that you stick underneath the car to make it safe. He was passing me one of them down, and it was a real big, heavy one, almost for like a truck, really. And I grabbed the central pole on it, and he went, "You got it?" I went, "Yes, I've got this." And as he let go, he was holding the A-frame, and the A-frame slid down the central pole and then cracked onto my thumb and ripped off my nail on my thumb, which was wonderful. And more recently as well, I've also given myself a black eye. So I was struggling with an olive. I went round to the mother-in-law's. And she said, "Can you change this radiator?" Yeah, of course I can. Of course I can. I can do this in my sleep. Don't worry. And so I took the radiator off. We went and bought a new radiator. We put the new radiator back on. Everything was going fine. And then this Olive was being a little cunt. So I got my mole grips, and they're like grips that grip onto stuff, but you can tighten them up so they will not let go. They're like pliers, but they won't let go. They mechanically lock.
Yeah.
And so I popped them around the Olive, and it just wouldn't shift. I was going left and going right, going left, going right, going up and going down, and it just wouldn't shift. And then I was getting closer and closer to it, and my face was getting really close to it, and then all of a sudden it went bang! And I gave myself a black eye.
With an Olive.
With an, I got the Olive off, but it was also attached to the mole grits, which also hit me in the face.
Ooh, okay. Not quite so good. Cool. Okay.
Do I win that one? I win that.
Well, hold on.
Don't I?
No. It's my turn.
Oh God.
Most of these have been on the podcast before, so this is really for the benefit of new listeners. Okay, let's start. Okay, first off, I had to build a like a cupboard for my youngest daughter, and she had gone out with my wife to the shops, and they were going to be gone for about an hour. And I thought, oh well, this thing's going to be easy enough to do. What I'll do first is I will go and have a shower, and I will have a shower, and then come back in, and I'll fix the whole thing up, and it'll be ready, so the cupboard's ready for when they come back from the shops. Brilliant, no problem. They go off to the shops. I sit there on the phone for a good 20 minutes, and I'm like, oh shit, actually I'm going to have to go and have a shower. So I rush in, go have a shower, big hot shower, and I'm thinking, fuck it, I haven't got time, I'll air dry. So I go out, I take the whole thing apart, the box apart, all the stuff's all over the floor, and I'm sitting there and I'm going bang, 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 and I'm knocking things together. And then I notice in the instructions that it says that the back has to be glued on. At which point I'm thinking, where's the glue? Oh, fucking hell, where's the glue? Where is the glue? Well, where the glue was, it turns out, was in a sachet that my fat, naked arse had sat upon, and thanks to the combination of shower heat, water, and my butt cheeks, had basically burst and glued my arse shut.
I love this story.
And it was like copy decks. So it hadn't so I could go to the loo, but the problem was, once you got copy decks rubberized in your butt hairs, you got two options. You can either just shave your butt hairs, which is going to need to be very carefully done, or as I thought I could do, you just grab hold of the big plasticky lump.
Oh, crying
and
out
you
loud.
pull.
Oh.
And yeah, that's exactly what I did. And by God, it was a waxing from hell. And I've never
That's my
forgotten
stripper name, by the way.
What? Gluey
Big
butt
plastic-
cheeks.
Big plasticky lump.
Big plasticky lump.
Yeah, big plasticky lump. Yeah.
So there was that one. The second one was when we moved from the previous house to this one. One of the things we had to do was take apart some of the furniture. And one bit of the furniture was like a set of drawers. And I took the set of drawers out, and there was nowhere to sort of break it up. So the only way I could break it up was I thought, rather than just like pull it apart bit by bit or unscrew it, I thought the best thing to do would be to hit it with a club hammer. And so I was hitting this set of drawers with a club hammer out on the drive, and then I put my foot on the drawer, and the drawer was in like a kind of L shape, and I hit it with the club hammer, and basically it didn't move. Well, the upward L bit didn't really succumb to the whacking of the club hammer. What in fact happened was it acted as a lever to take the bit that I was standing on and shoot it straight up between my legs and hit me in the balls. So I backslapped my testicles with a plank of wood whacked by a club hammer, and that was a pain. That was a pain that I'd not had for a while. Because it was like my testicles had been flipped forward into my belly. It was literally like that hard. It was like, oh. So it was an unusual pain, and I kind of just stood there, frozen, like just on the driveway, just holding on to this mallet because it was the only thing I could grip rather than scream at the top of my lungs. So there was that, and then finally the classic of all classics, which also, funny enough, relates to my testicles, was the spilling the hot coffee in cartoon. I sat at my desk. I put my coffee down, and what I'd done is I put it down. I moved my keyboard towards me, and it knocked the coffee straight into my lap. The coffee was boiling hot. My testicle, absolutely, my entire lap was on fire. I run to the men's loo. All the men's loos locked up. All the stalls are locked. People are in there. They're all locked up. My nuts are really burning. I'm really in pain. So I go into the disabled loos. I open up the door, go into the disabled loos, lock the door behind me. I take my trousers off. I splash some water on there, but I'm like, oh God, it's so hot, so hot. So I splash more water on. Then I realise I've got water all over my lap, all over my front. Then there's no towels. There's no like hand towels or anything. There's only this air dryer, like a Dyson air dryer. And it was down low because it's the disabled loos, so that people can reach it. So I decided that the only way to finally dry everything off was to take my junk and lay it into the air dryer, into the air blade, into the Dyson Airblade. I laid them into the Dyson Airblade. It didn't trigger. So then what I had to do was I had to put my hands on either side. I'd be
triggered if I walk in on you, I'll tell you.
Well, the door was locked. Don't worry. And I put both my hands in to trigger the jet. I did that, and my testicles became a Newton's cradle, basically click-clacking between two blades of air, and I've never felt a sensation like it before or since. And I was just literally standing there going, ah! As this thing was like, my testicles were just like slapping, like it sounded like someone took a marigold glove and just kept slapping it against the fridge door. It was like kind of kind of noise.
What are you doing? Slapping meat in there?
What are you doing? Beating an oyster to death in there? So yeah, and I just gently lifted my junk out and just stood there, allowing vibrations to finally subside, and then put my trousers on and went gingerly back to my desk. I think that answers it.
Join us next week when we'll be starting the therapy sessions.
Welcome to the Dyson Airblade. Lee glues his bum shut, smacks himself in the testicles with a plank of wood stories.
When you told me, you said about the fact that you had air blowing up there and it was keeping them afloat. Remember that Maltesers advert, right? With the bloke with the straw.
It was like one of those sort of desk toys, the ones where they go click clack click clack.
Newton's cradle.
That's it, Newton's cradle. Yeah.
Or like the hovering, where they do the suspend. Oh, they've got like a blast of air just about right, where it just sort of like counteracts the weight of the object.
Well,
it just keeps it floating.
But that was the problem. It wasn't. It's called an airblade for a reason. There's literally two jets of air that come straight at you, like two thin pieces of paper running at 200 miles an hour straight at either end.
Yep.
So
it's a knockout air cannon. It's just...
It was like a t-shirt cannon with my testicles in it.
I had one bollock over each shoulder. That's basically what it was. I'll tell you, it looked like I was wearing a fucking COVID face mask. That's what it was.
Yeah. 2010 was a bad year for airblades. That's all I'm saying. So, yeah, there you go. So if anybody else, there's loads of other questions we will answer in due course. If anybody else has any additional questions, about the ones we've already answered, or any follow-ups, then by all means drop them in to the thread on the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/the Black Dog Podcast, and ask us a question, and we might read it out and answer it.
Are we allowed to ask a question?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've got one.
Go on.
Has anybody ever been the living embodiment of irony at all?
What do you mean?
Oh, God.
Well, okay, so my one, normally when I think of irony, it's always somebody dying because, they've been run over by an ambulance and killed or stuff like this. But my actual real life one, the one that happened to me, was I missed a bus once. I was standing at a bus stop and a bus went right by me, right? Because I was looking at the bus app trying to find out when the next bus was going to turn up. So there we go.
Lovely. Oh, well, I'll have to have a little think about that one.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Like driving someone to their driving test and smashing into a fence or something. Huh?
Yeah. It's something like that. Yes.
Okay. I don't think I have, but I'll have a little think about it. Jim, Elton, you got anything to add to that?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head at the moment.
It was all very traumatic, but someone did get a very good song out of it.
Yeah, Alanis Morissette didn't do too badly, but she still doesn't understand. She doesn't understand irony.
Oh, no, I think of the old classic. I glued my balls to my butt cheeks again.
I glued my balls to my butt cheeks again. Oh my God!
You need to claim some royalties on that one, Lee.
What? Well, hold on. I might even still have it somewhere. Hang about there. Hold the line, caller. Hold on. I think I've got it right here for you.
I got my balls to my butt, yeah. Oh my God. What did I do? I can't take a dump, 'cause now my balls are blocking up my butt.
There you go. And on that note, we shall roll the jingle and be back to talk sense about Synchronic. Like that's going to happen. Roll the jingle. Right, Synchronic is a 2019 American science fiction horror film. Really? Directed and produced by Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead. We've done their films before, things like The Endless, and what was the other one?
Resolution.
Resolution, that's it. Resolution and The Endless. The story revolves around Steve, a womanizing New Orleans paramedic, and his devoted partner Dennis, as they encounter strange and inexplicable deaths connected to a new designer drug. The movie had its release at the Toronto Film Festival in 2019 and actually came out in October 2020, by which point the entire world had disappeared into a big lockdown of banana bread and toilet rolls. So unsurprisingly, its box office was incredibly small, but we'll take a guess. How much do you reckon it made at the box office, Jim?
4 million dick-ass conquistadores.
Punk-ass conquistadores. Yeah. Okay, Elton.
I'm going real low ball here, so I'm going to go with a snake bite and a broken Casio watch.
Nice. Dow?
I think a racist baby and a very sad-looking dog that will be lost forever.
No! Hawking! R.I.P. Hawking. Well, actually, you're all wrong, because what it actually made was ha 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 ha. It's what it made. Anyway,
So you decided to go with that joke then, yes?
I did decide to go
Okay,
with that
cool,
joke. Yeah.
cool.
Yes. Well, the man's not been working since liver let die, so you got to give him some fucking props.
That's very true, yeah.
Anyway, yes. So no, actually, it made at the box office $1.5 million, which I think it did quite well considering the environment it was released into. Right. So let's go around the table. What did everyone think? Jim, you picked this, so you will go last.
Okie dokie.
And so we will start with who's not seen this film and who has seen this film.
I'll go first. It's fine.
Okay, Elton. Then go on.
It's fine. I'll just go first.
All right, go on, then, Elton. What did you think of Synchronic?
Really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. I thought it had some good ideas, worked well, looked great. There's a little bit towards the end, which I'm a bit... It just goes into a realm of I didn't quite like that. But overall, quite enjoyed it.
Okie dokie. Darren. Silence was a stern reply. Darren?
Yep, sorry about that. It's the settings on my microphone. I've just adjusted them. So
right.
Does this sound a bit better?
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah,
Sounds
excellent
great.
stuff. Excellent. Yeah, I actually quite enjoyed it. The end kind of like made me go, excuse me?
What precisely is your message here? Yeah.
You forgot about the science you laid down, and that's okay. Okay, fine.
Okay.
Your universe, I don't care if your time travel physics is broken. Yep, that's fine. So yeah, in general, when it started off, it was a bit of a slow burner, but then it got to a point when something happened and it kind of caught my interest, and I became laser focused on it. So so generally, I enjoyed it.
Cool. For me, I've this is my second time watching it. I like it. I wouldn't say I love it. There's a few moments where my eye twitches with a couple of bits and pieces. It's very clever, but then there's a couple of bits where it goes for convenience rather than plot explanations, and especially towards the end, and it just kind of okay. But yeah, overall it's good, and it's probably the best thing Anthony Mackie's been in ever, to be honest, as an actor, as opposed to like just being an ensemble in the Marvel thing. Yeah, it's okay. I it's a solid 3 out of 5, right in the middle. It's neither good nor bad in my eyes. It's got some really good things in it, and it's got some really bits that make me just go, oh. But we'll get into those with the discussion, I'm sure. Jim, what about you?
This is my second time watching it. I like this, but I don't like it as much as their other films.
No.
I would say. I think this feels slightly more Hollywood.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, kind of a so-so film from this pair knocks spots off most other films, and just kind of like, okay, that's really interesting. I've not seen that before.
Yeah.
But yes, no, I enjoyed going back to it. It's one of those films that I was saying, kind of, I know I enjoyed it the first time. I can't really remember what happened because it's not really. It's not an easy film to summarize in a plot synopsis.
No.
Which is it is a strength, to be honest. That's part of its charm, that it just has that area of difference.
Yeah.
But also I didn't realise that this is connected to the other films they've done as well in this viewing.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Oh,
I'll say
okay.
that for the spoiler zone.
Okay, well that's interesting. Cool. Okay, so overall thumbs up, but not the highlight of their.
No, I mean I think for me it's probably Spring or Endless is still probably their high watermark. But,
yeah,
but we are talking high bars.
definitely. Mm-hmm. Okie dokie. Well, we'll leave it there. So, ladies and gentlemen, obviously, we will be spoiling the fuck out of this thing as we discuss it. So, if you don't want to know more, do what we always tell you to do. You know, we're asking you to do it. You pause this, go watch the film. I think it's only like 97 minutes. It's a fairly swift little watch. Watch the film, come back, then come on with the discussion, because it's probably best you don't know what's going on with this thing, even though we've already spoiled the thing about the dog and the racist baby. So anyway, we'll do the spoiler zone. You have been warned. If you get through all the jingle nonsense, then you can only blame yourself, to be honest. So here we go.
There will now be a short intermission.
Shut up, Wesley. Shut up, Wesley. Shut up, Wesley. Shut up, Wesley.
Course you don't get bloody wafers with it.
An itty bitty ditty bag.
And here we are on the other side of the spoiler zone. Sorry, just had to bring back Sergeant Slaughter for one last hurrah. So let's just get into it. So the movie drops the time travel thing on you, and we've done enough time travel movies to last a lifetime. How do you think it handles the time travel? And I'm dropping this right at the very beginning because the rest of it we can discuss, but I think this is the kind of the core bit that the film either lives or dies on, I think. And seeing as we always have these discussions towards the end of kind of like, time loops and all this kind of thing, I feel like get it out the way now. Let's just get it out the way. We get time travel. How do you think it handled it? Elton, you're our resident time travel geekaroonie over on this.
Okay.
How do you think it handled it?
I thought it did it all right. I quite like the mystery around it.
Right.
And the slow burn in the story where you're trying to work out exactly what is going on. What are these people doing? Is it just hallucinations? And it's... I really like it up until it turns into an action movie.
Right.
With the time travel stuff. But the mystery about it and then discovering it and then going through the trials and tests of it, I quite like.
Right.
I like what the film does as well, like the flippy floppy stuff that I'm still not quite sure as to what's going on. Like the hard cuts where someone's driving a car and then it's a different scene, but in this exactly the same pose, but at a totally different time. But I think I have an answer for that. But
okay,
I thought it dealt with it all right. I'm not too sure if it is time travel, if it's just like time slippage, the way it's discussed, and all time is happening all at once. That's what he was saying, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
The professor that created the drug.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of slipping through the reads to a different time. So it's not like jumping a DeLorean and travel at 88 miles an hour back to somewhere. You're kind of slipping through the folds of the universe and arriving somewhere else, because it's not predetermined where you're going to be. You don't know where you're going to go.
Well, it is predetermined based on your location.
I think the position of where you're going to go is, but the time I think once you've been there, then yes, you can determine what time you're going to be going to. But yeah, the first trip around, you wouldn't have a clue.
Okay, cool. What about you, Jim? How did you find the time travel element?
Well, I think it's an interesting idea because it is kind of, the professor explains it as kind of his explanation, what he thinks is happening is people are perceiving different times.
Yeah.
But actually what the drug is doing is allowing you to actually physically go there as well.
Right.
Which I think that's kind of interesting, the idea that it opens literally like a time hole that drops you through.
Yeah.
And literally there's kind of, I love the kind of the sort of rules. It lasts for so long and you have to be at the right spot to get back.
Yeah.
I find that it's an interesting idea. It doesn't sort of tie itself up in the normal sort of paradox shenanigans.
Yeah.
Because we only know what Anthony Mackie knows.
Yeah.
And you can only do limited amounts of experiments because he's only got literally a handful of pills to play with.
Yeah.
And so it never tells you, it makes it telling you too much and presenting too much of a theory. It's kind of the inventor, the chemist, he doesn't actually understand it. He doesn't realize what it's doing.
Okay.
And I think that's sort of quite interesting. Because it is a good approach for time travel instead of trying to like
explain
everything. And saying, okay, this is the rules.
Yeah.
It is kind of more like trying to figure it out. And at the end of the day, it's something that's pretty mind warping. And how could you figure it out realistically?
Yeah.
I kind of like that mystery element to it, that it is this kind of you're making a glitch in the universe, basically, rather than like a machine to transport you.
Yeah. Okay. What about you, Dal? How did you find it? Because I know that you often have a few eye twitches with time travel.
Well, mine's the whole thing of changing history, and it's like, well, you're just setting up a parallel universe. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this handled that really, really well.
Right.
Because it didn't go to any major events.
No.
It just, it went to pretty much out of the way places.
Mm.
Didn't offer any solutions to a problem in history or anything like this.
Right.
And I've always said, if somebody's going to create time travel and they're going to appear, suddenly decide to come back to my living room at this point in time, and I should be seeing them right now. And if I'm not, it's never going to happen.
Right.
Yep, there we go. Nobody's appeared. Thank you very much. So they're not coming back here in the future. Not going to suddenly decide they want to come back to this point in time because I'm not seeing them. That's it.
No.
But this film avoids all of that.
Yeah.
They're more observers, most of them. I think it's pretty convenient that Anthony Mackie's character has got a condition which allows him to use time travel like teenagers do.
Right, yeah.
And fully bodily transport himself to where he needs to be.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, to me, it kind of... The ending is the thing that really kind of puts me nose out of joint with this.
Yeah.
Because I would have preferred him to be stuck in time, do it another way. He saves the girl by sacrificing his life or something like that. She goes back and that's how it ends. And not what we got because it didn't make sense.
Why didn't it make sense?
Because why did he disappear? He was still able to go back. He made it within the time limit. That's it. He managed to go. He managed to go back. He didn't get stuck in time. It's like
he was a bit late. He was a bit late, and he just appears like an after him. It's like the dog. He doesn't get back.
He wasn't in the right area when the alarm went off.
But he said, as long as that thing is shown in the distance, the thing from the future, as long as you can still see it, you should still be in time. And it's just, I don't know.
It could also be argued that he's only able to do this stuff because of his pineal gland.
Yeah.
And that was where the tumor was. So, did he was that degenerative thing, affecting his ability to get back?
Could be. Maybe it's healed itself to a point where it took that ability away from him.
I mean, because that's the bit that Jim's kind of alluding to, is that you don't get full rules, so therefore you can't sit there all the way through and go, oh, this rule says this and this rule says that. It's just enough information, but not fully.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, it's just like with the dog, though. That's the thing. It's kind of the dog is nearly there. He has the lead, but not the dog. And it's the same with him. He's been wounded. He doesn't make it to the drop zone enough, so he doesn't get back. And what's at the end is just like the dog he sees. It's a spectral image that will just fade away. And it's just that kind of little overlap of time zones, but he is stuck in the past.
Yeah.
And probably he's going to die there with these wounds as well.
That's if the racists don't get him. I mean, let's be honest.
I didn't send any babies there.
Yeah, not sending any babies there. Yeah, I mean, for me, the only issue I had with the time travel really was it's kind of weird because it's what the observer sees until all of a sudden it isn't. And it's like, she can be lying in bed and then all of a sudden a snake materializes and bites her and then it vanishes. And you think, right, okay, cool. But 5 minutes later you've got, oh yeah, if you're sitting on a sofa, the sofa will disappear underneath you and you'll be in a swamp. And it was just a few bits like that where it's kind of like slightly inconsistent with what stays with you, where you end up, how you return, that kind of thing.
It depends. I think it's consistent because you remember Anthony Mackie can move like the kids do and move through time. The other people, they're like, I think they get more of an overlapping of times.
Yeah.
They can't actually move.
Yeah, but I mean, I was thinking more about like the guy in the lift, for example. I mean, technically speaking, he's moving vertically over the course of his transmission. So when does it start? Does it start when he got in the lift? If the lift's moving, is it moving the point in time? In which case, is the point in time stuck on a position or a piece of furniture?
What I saw with that is he got into a lift. He was just about to trip his balls off. Why would you want to go out and go into a lift and go up? I do not know. And where are you going from the second floor up? What's up? I don't know.
The ice making machine.
Yeah.
But so yeah, he physically transported to that position. That's how he ended up outside that lift. He fell down out to where the lift pit would have been, and that's what the bump was. That they said, oh, they must have hit a sensor. Shut up. You don't know what you're on about. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Must have hit a sensor. Shut the fuck. What fucking sensor? Point to it then. Go on. Point to it.
Oh, nobody move. His anger is based on movement.
Don't know what you're on about. Fucking sensor. Is it a fuse? Yeah. Anyway. So I reckon he has physically transported into that desert weld, wherever it was, fallen, and then after his 7 minutes appeared at the bottom of that lift shaft and then been like hit by the lift, maybe. I don't know. But
right.
So he is young enough or supple enough to actually physically transfer into the different time. Whereas the woman on the bed, I don't know. She got bit. I think every time we saw someone, they actually got physically touched by something, didn't they?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you had the child body on the floor, and they showed you it a little bit later on of a woman being trapped in a room with things on fire. So
they laid down a law that kids can physically go there. Because I think that's what the doctor said. If kids actually go there, but that they're more supple to go there. But we all saw the adults go in there as well.
Yeah.
Well, they phased in more like ghosts. They can't go 100% there, which is why the way it was explained. They just people there wherever they transport to just see them as spirits,
Right.
because they're non-corporeal, so it's their hands go straight through them, everything, and then they become corporeal when they for about a second or so at a time before they phase back to the time that they're from. So the geezer in the lift, maybe what happened was, instead of actually totally going somewhere, he just became non-corporeal and fell through the bottom of the lift.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what
So
I
it could
took
be
it as.
that.
Yeah.
Mm.
That's why he's in bits. Was because he's literally kind of
was
his
well
face
upset,
as the lift's moving, and it's like hacked him literally into several bits of where he's been halfway between the lift floors.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
All right.
So,
fair enough. No, it was just a few things like that. The only other thing I was going to say with the time travel, and then we'll move on, is the point in time that you travel to fixed? And by that I mean, the daughter disappears back to the river and ends up in that sort of firestorm of bullets and everything.
I think that was
and
American Civil War. That was
Yeah.
not a Civil War. Yeah, it was the because you had the Dutch. Was it? Yeah, the guy that comes out with the rifle was a Dutch settler.
I have no idea what he was, but
I thought
anyway,
he was Irish.
I thought he was Irish as well, but it doesn't really matter. All I was going to say was it was like 3 or 4 days or 5 days of fart arsing about learning how the magic pills worked, and then it was another couple of days of looking for places to start beaming in and trying to find her. And then he literally sat on that rock, and she'd moved about 10 foot. So had she been sitting there for like 10 days under hails of bullets, or had he literally beamed into the same point she had 5 minutes ago?
I take it from it always go to the exact same like point in time.
Right.
It's like a fixed point in space and time.
Cool.
Okay. You know what? I think time runs concurrent as well to the time in your time. So if it's 2:00 in the afternoon when you zap into wherever it is, it's 2:00 in the afternoon there. And I think it follows the same pattern of if you go there on a Tuesday, come back and then go there on a Wednesday, it will be Wednesday in that place.
Right.
I think that's how it possibly works.
That's cool. That's. I mean, if it makes sense to you guys, that's cool. I mean, for me, I was just kind of like, "What? She's been sitting there for like a week. What's going on there?"
No, because she had a part of a uniform on as well. She had like one of the trench coats.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, which means that she's been there for a while, because she looks a right old state, and she was,
well, yeah,
wearing
I think
another
day or so in that place. Well, she's probably been in there for as long as she's been missing in our time.
Yeah.
So however long that was, like 2, maybe 3 weeks.
Okay. That's cool. It was a little thing in my head, and I'm like, what?
Yeah,
How?
so if it has been 3 weeks, why has she only moved 400 meters?
Exactly.
That's
But
why I
did
think
she, though?
you go to the same point, and basically she's wandered off into this firefight. So she grabbed a coat because she's probably freezing her tits off.
Yeah.
And doesn't know where to go. And then Anthony Mackie turns up.
Yeah.
It's only probably it's only probably been like an hour or something difference between the point they've travelled. You see what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. That's cool. Right, okay, that's cool. So let's get back to the main story then. I mean, how did you find Anthony Mackie as a character in this? because I mean, let's not beat around the bush. As an actor, he's not really had a chance to shine. He's been in like one Black Mirror, the the series of Altered Carbon that everyone generally regards as being bloody awful, and and a load of Marvel films where he
And
just
8 Mile.
Oh, and 8 Mile, yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the guys that was it Eminem goes up against.
Mm.
So
yeah. So how do we find out our actors and characters? Do we like him? Is he all right? How did you find that?
I don't think this role gives him enough room to be not Sam Wilson from from the Marvel movies. He seems very similar to Sam Wilson in this.
Mm.
It's like, how some actors can only act as their own, as themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he's, he looks like he's one of them. I think he's going to have to do something radically different.
Yeah.
For me to shake that.
Okay, fair enough. What about you, Jim?
I thought he was fine in this. This is a role he could actually get his teeth into a bit.
Yeah.
And, I think, he's fine as a lead in this.
Yeah.
And it was the role was kind of nicely tailored to his wavelength of acting, shall we say.
Right. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. And you, Elton, do you have any thoughts on him?
I think I'm blessed in not seeing him in many things, to be honest.
Yeah, that's probably is a blessing at this point, because I think it's too easy to.
Yeah, because if it's the same all over the place, then
you
always remember your first moment, and then you go off from that point to other things. But I thought he was fine. I thought he was great, actually.
Yeah.
What I saw was, great, no problems whatsoever.
Right.
I really couldn't fault it. I don't think. I thought he suited the role really well.
Yeah.
The moments where he has to act as if like the weight is the world on his shoulders. Yeah, it worked really, really well.
Cool. Okay, cool. Fair enough. So I mean, how do we? I mean, personally, I found him okay. I think he's a good actor for those kind of like everyman roles. You just sort of stick him in there, and he kind of reliably solid, I think is the best way of putting it. You just kind of go, yep, he's all right. And he's a good guy. He's slightly weird, or he's slightly drunk, or he's slightly off the rails. He's just okay, sort of thing. And I don't really have a problem with him, but I just know that, as you say, Elton, if you've got a character that's always, or an actor who's always sort of associated with a role, you bring that with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was like you, Dow. I was kind of thinking at one point, oh God, this is just Sam Wilson all over again.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's just the side. So
was that like the snarky comments, and does he do the snarky comments in all the other films?
No. It's that just kind of like he's the reliable wingman, even when he appears to be doing the wrong thing. He's doing the right thing.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? You can rely on him to be the solid wingman. So like, for example, with Jamie Dornan's character falling apart, and he's off doing his own thing in the background, but he's doing it for the right reasons. He's putting himself in danger and all this kind of stuff. But you're sitting there going, oh yeah, but he's a good guy. He's doing it for the right reasons, And that's that kind of thing. He does that. That's kind of that character. He's basically Captain America, but with some rough edges.
Yep.
But how do we find the telling of the story? Because Moorhead and Benson, they do these stories which are very out there and a bit weird and a bit woo and a bit way, and it's kind of like really interesting stuff. how did you find this story overall? Because for me, I found it fairly linear, and it was just like they randomly put some woo and way bits of just like random shots of stars and random shots of the buildings upside down and shit like that to make it feel more woo and way than it actually was.
Like with the jump cuts.
Yeah, like you were saying with the jump cuts.
Okay, the jump cuts made sense to me after a little while. I was trying to work out whether they were actually playing a role in the story, or because we're talking about time travel, and then you see jump cuts, you're like, are they important?
Yeah.
And I don't think they're important to the time travel or anything like that. I think that is just portraying someone who's going through a major life upheaval. And sometimes you forget where you're driving, and then all of a sudden you're there. Yeah. And that's the way I saw what he was doing there. And I quite like that, actually. I think that works really well, because there's been moments where I've been driving, I think we've all done, we're driving along, and all of a sudden you get to your destination like, oh, I don't remember doing that. Because you're thinking of something else, or something's playing on your mind, or the world is against you at that moment, and you're like, oh, bloody, how am I going to sort this out? And you're concentrating, but also you're thinking.
Yeah.
And when you get to your destination, you're just still thinking of what's going on. And I think it did it really well on the screen. I don't know if that's exactly what it was, but that's the way I took it anyway.
Right. Jim?
I go along with Elton, because I think those sort of bits, they do start to make sense once you get to know bits of the backstory of the character. And particularly he's got this brain tumor, and this is kind of, it's feeding into his own sort of mental states where he's flashing on different things, and things. It's kind of like my sort of migraine sort of related stuff, of where you get these weird sort of flashes and visuals.
Yeah,
and it all ties into that. The story that I think it is a lot more linear than Resolution or The Endless.
Yeah,
and a lot more linear than Something in the Dirt, which is fucking mental.
Yeah.
But that's not necessarily a bad thing. But it just feels like this is kind of, I've said before in the intro, this feels like they're kind of like their Hollywood movie. This is the accessible one.
Yeah, this is the one for them, sort of one for them and one for us kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is kind of, because they've got some sort of name actors in this rather than and it just feels like it feels a bit more, so say, general viewer friendly.
Yeah,
I think it's so it's a good way into their universe.
Yes.
But I find it interesting because there's all these connections to the other films. It's the Synchronic drug is made from the red flowers,
right?
Which are in The Endless and Resolution,
right?
The cult smoke, but it also ties into the Something in the Dirt, because in that, without giving spoilers, right, this character's taking some pills and they start experiencing non-linear temporal phenomena, shall we say? And it's kind of, they've got synchronic pills. That's what they are.
Okay.
So what ones have we covered on Black Dog? I know we did Endless. We haven't done Resolution yet, though, I don't think.
No.
Because that's on my list to do.
Hold on. What ones have we done? I mean, I'm trying to remember what ones they've.
Have we done In the Dirt?
No, we did another one called In the Earth, but that was Ben
Wheatley.
Ben Wheatley, yeah. Hold on,
we've not done Spring yet either.
Right.
No, or Resolution. Actually, I'm sure we had done more than this, but appears we haven't. Or maybe no.
I know we've wanted to, but they've not been available.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they've done something for VHS Viral as well, apparently. The Endless is the only one we've done. Okay, that's very odd. I'm sure we'd done another one, but there you go. Yeah, well, we'll have to do more, I guess. Which is no bad thing. Where were we? Oh, my brain's gone. I've completely gone. I've lost the plot. I've lost the plot. Sorry, I've been gone for 7 minutes. I was in the 1400s.
I believe Dal was up to answer the question of how linear do you think the plot was.
Oh yes, thank you very much for that, Jim. If it wasn't for me being lost in pirate times, I would have remembered that. Go on, Dal.
Yeah. See, it couldn't quite make up its mind whether it wanted to do something like that or not. I felt because I thought what was going to happen is the way they were showing it was you're going to find out that by the end of it, Anthony Mackie has become one with the time stream, and he's now experiencing time all at the same time.
Yeah,
you know, because that's the way they started suggesting it with the flashbacks that they were put in.
Oh, see, yeah, okay.
So I think that's what they were trying to do. They were like showing this is what he's doing. This is how he's traveling through time. He's just now, you know, he's either floating on the solar winds and going where it takes him, or he's guiding himself. But then it's like, well, this doesn't make sense because, well, that suddenly switched again. And, oh, okay, fine. You know, it's exposition, but it just seemed a little bit misleading.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah. Like I say, I think there were some bits.
We'll put that on the poster.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
With his little flashbacks and stuff like that, where he's driving and little hard cuts, do you think that might be him floating on the solar winds of time?
It could actually still be him because he does fade, and we don't know what happens to them when they do that. Do they go back to the time that they've just come from, or do they actually just get absorbed into the time stream? And if that's the case, then yeah, he's going to experience time completely differently to any standard human being. Every point in history could run side by side, and he could be present at every single one of them all at once.
But this is another one of those inconsistencies with the whole time travel thing. He can only return back if he's in the right spot, in the right place at the right time. Yeah,
right.
So how does Lift Man work? Seeing as he was in the lift, dissolved through the world, fell several hundred feet into Dune. Into the world of Arrakis or wherever the fuck he was, and then materialized back in a lift shaft.
Well, let's see now. Hold on a minute. Let me see if I can. Let me see if I can try and explain. Hold on.
We haven't done this for a little bit.
I've got a deck of cards in my hand here. Let me just shuffle it. Okay. There we go. I'm shuffling the cards as we speak. Right. Okay. I'm fanning them out in front of you now, Lee. Okay, so what I want you to do is, I can't see what these cards are. No. I actually would like you to pick one. So which one do you want? Where should we go? Which
that one?
That one? Okay,
yep.
I'm pulling it out. And I'll now tell you that your card said it is the 2 of shut the fuck up. That's why.
Hey.
There you go. It was a long road, but we got there in the end.
Getting from there to here. Okay.
Now, so with all the other victims, like Fire Guy, Snake Woman, Lift Man, they've not actually moved from where they were.
Shittest Justice League. Those are the B ones when they've all gone off to bed, and it's like they're the cover at night. How's it going, Lift Man? Where's Snake Woman?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, so they did move though, Jim. That's the thing. The guy falling through the lift moved. The guy who got stabbed
he's
by
actually
the
the same location. I mean, he's not like they can't do what Anthony Mackie does, is like go off for a stroll. They're kind of at a point where times have folded over. So it's kind of like.
Well, do have a theory. Sorry, go on. Sorry, Jim.
Go for it.
Maybe then in that case, and I shouldn't be doing this thinking for the writers. I really shouldn't. But okay, let's say this way. Say he was in that lift and he leapt to the other time as a spirit, right?
Right.
And then when he came back, the lift was no longer where it was. It had gone completely up, and then he just materialized back to the same place that he disappeared from and fell. So when he came back, the lift wasn't there for it to catch him. It had moved on.
That doesn't work though, because you see him materialize in thin air above the fucking desert and fall to his death, like hundreds of feet.
But yeah, you only get so much time in the other thing, and you zap back. Yeah,
but you zap back. But you can only zap back if you're in the position where you left.
Let's have a look at that then.
Because that's what happened with Anthony Mackie trying to climb the tree to escape from the cavemen.
Oh, but the rules are different for Anthony Mackie though, because he's pineal gland.
It's pie and chips. You remember the pie and chips, right?
Because even their kids can do it. It affects them differently.
But then, what about the dog?
Well, hold on. How about we look at? Maybe we're looking at this the wrong way. Right?
Sorry. I am being one of those irritating. But what about it kind of guys? As opposed to reviewing the film. But
I might have an explanation for it. And as again, I shouldn't have to do this work, right? I shouldn't have to do I shouldn't have to get my polyfiller out and fill in the cracks here, but I will. What if instead of being in 3D space, it's 2D space, right? So it doesn't matter how high. No, it doesn't matter how high or how low you are, as long as you are standing either above, below, or on that point.
Right to the center of the earth,
or
deep into space.
Maybe it's a bunch of lines drawn through reality, right? So it doesn't matter where you are on that line, as long as you are on the line that you came in on. That's when you go back. I know Anthony Mackie had to climb a tree to get there, but what if he didn't have to do that? It's again, I shouldn't have to do this work for the writers.
He had to do that because otherwise he wouldn't have grabbed hold of the chair, which was tethered in reality, which brought him back.
So maybe had he not climbed the tree, he would have been. He probably would have been on street level, and maybe materialized into a wall or something like that. You know, so
which would have been really cool to see, actually.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't actually see something like that, because that's a sort of giddy sort of thing that this sort of time travel would do, right? Everybody phased, or he phased the right place all the time. That's it. But I think maybe to explain that, you'd have to look at it as a set of lines running from the sky right through the earth, and you'll go back to the same time if you're on that line. But where you'll end up when you come back, if you're not exactly where you were on that line, then you are going to be relative to where you were back in the time. So if you were like 15 foot higher up that line, you go back to where you originally started from. But if you're below it, then you could end up, 3 floors below where you first went from. So positioning's like vertical lines. That's it.
I just like to say bullshit.
Probably, but it's this is like fucking Taskmaster. I've got this thing here I want you to do. Explain this film for me without looking at any sort of synopsis from the writers or anything like this. What would you say? What would you say is the explanation for this?
Yes.
And by the way, make a fridge out of cheese. Sorry.
But it adds a bit of danger to the time travel, which we don't normally see. It's normally just a MacGuffin of like a violin case that we had in Predestination, or a phone box in
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who, or I was thinking of Bill and Ted, or a car, or a box that you have to sit in primer,
or a living room.
or a living room.
Yes, time traveling living room. I think,
Living room.
a crime traveler. Remember
Crime
that show?
Traveler.
It was a
Fuck.
fucking living room. A living room.
Just get the fuck out. You do not bring up Crime Traveller in his dojo. Just fuck off.
Well, I did. I'm invoking crime traveler. Okay?
I said good day, sir.
I said good day, sir.
Good day. You lose. Good day, sir. Okay, let's move away from the time travel for a second because I feel like I've derailed the conversation about the actual film.
But the film is about time travel, so
Well,
you haven't.
actually, that is the question. Is it about time travel?
I think so.
Okay.
I think, but there's a whole thing of the appreciation. That's what I liked about it as well. You know how you see some films and you get the time traveler goes back and he thinks, "Oh, this is wonderful. I've gone back in time and done this thing." And Anthony Mackie's like, "Yeah, fucking the past sucks. That's it. It really does." And do you realise how lucky we are to be where we are at the moment? You know, this moment in time with all the technology and stuff like this. That was refreshing.
It sounded like you were going to say something, Jim.
Well, yeah, I'd say it's not so much about time travel, but about time. And
Yes.
if you want to be pretentious, about our journey through time. We are actually all time travelers. We just go one way, and we don't know when the stop when our last stops come in.
Yeah.
Almost sounded like
room.
Brian Cox there. You really did. So let's talk about time. Oh, yeah. Let's talk about time. What about time? Well, it's like a ball of fluff, you know, like a big soft kitten. But with a hammer. And it's coming for you.
I'm going to stare at the sky meaningfully while on the top of this mountain. Yeah, sorry, Jim. Carry on.
Because it is very much about mortality, and it's kind of, what you do with your time.
Yeah.
It's actually a recurring theme in a lot of the conversations. It's kind of, we have various sort of milestones and goalposts and plans and ambitions and what have you. But it's kind of, life isn't like a movie where you get to a certain point and at the end, roll credits.
Yeah.
Keeps on going. And then you go, oh, right, now what do I do? Or, as in Matt Yoki fans could say, actually, you're off at the next stop. Really? Yep, tough shit, fucker.
Yeah. Peace out. Yeah. What about you, Elton? How do you feel? What do you think the film was about, really?
I agree with Jim. I would add about be happy with what you've got at the moment, because there was a bit of there was something about the two daughters as well, of having the older daughter and then the younger daughter, and it felt like the dad had to choose between either his older daughter or the younger daughter and his wife. At one moment, she got really, really antsy about certain things. About, oh, she's missing, but yeah, what about us? It's like, okay,
we've got a racist baby to raise.
That's very true. Yeah,
I've got one.
You got a racist baby?
Yeah, I've got one right here. Yes. No, I think the message is like a lot of people do. Stop living in the past and concentrate on the now. Because the past, thinking about being involved too much in the past can be a bad thing.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting. I mean, we're all sort of dancing around the same thing. It's like, live in the now, live in the moment. Don't waste your time. I also. Is there any significance to them being paramedics other than just the mechanic of them finding the drugs? Because I'm kind of thinking that the real thing settles down. The real meat of the story settles down right at the very end, which is Jamie Dornan sort of saying we see all these people and their lives all end, and we see 90% of them end in a bed, but the last 10% are in sudden horrible moments, and then but they are the ones who their death means how they've lived. And I was wondering whether or not the whole film just boils down to make everything you do mean something.
Yep.
Because they're essentially shoveling shit from one day to the next, and yet Anthony Mackie in his last remaining moments actually does something meaningful with his life. But Jamie Dornan's yearning for the life that Anthony Mackie has, which is essentially playboy, get drunk, sleep around, do what the fuck you like, turn up to work, repeat. Whereas Anthony Mackie's kind of like, well, I'd quite like your life, family, settle down, the one sort of thing. But ultimately, none of it means anything unless you make a difference. And the pair of them are trying to make a difference by being paramedics.
But it's also being paramedics and seeing what they see impacts how they view their own life. Because, they, as he says, they see the exceptional deaths, and that takes its toll on them in different ways, I think.
Yeah, gives them both a nihilistic view of the world, because it doesn't matter what you do, you're all going to end up the same way. We're all going to end up the same way. Sorry, spoilers. It's just how we all end up the same way.
We're just not there yet, are we?
Well, I don't know. The way I'm going, recalling some of those stories, I'm surprised it hasn't been some sort of testicle-related accident. But
it was interesting to see that as paramedics, they were wasting time as well. When he was taking shots of golf, and then you got Mackie laying on the bed while he's doing that.
Yeah,
on the crash bed.
Well,
so,
it's just literally they're waiting for their moment to shine, and all they're doing is just running in, clearing up the mess, and going away. Whereas their job is supposedly, making a difference to people's lives, bringing them back from the brink. But 90% of the time, it's just like, oh, you're a druggie, you've overdosed, oh, you've been shot, you're dead, And it's a kind of a fairly nihilistic experience, really. And that, as you say, it's got to take a toll on you, because your view is seeing the exceptional deaths as opposed to just someone farting and fading away their last in a bed. Which then, how does that feed into something like that? How's that feed into the time travel? Because apart from rescuing the daughter, I guess the only this is starting to turn into one of those ripping a bong kind of conversations, isn't it? So if how's it mean ripping the daughter, getting the daughter out? And it's just like, no, it's kind of like, I don't know, how does time travel feature in this? It's beyond being a MacGuffin just to save the daughter. I mean, it's just a thing, isn't it? Did it have to be time travel, I guess, is the point.
Once again, I think there's 3 stages of it in this film, where you have the experiment in the very beginning, where we don't know what he is. Him experimenting the second time round, where he's on the chairs and going to the Ice Age and stuff like that. And then the third one, where it turns into an action movie. And I really don't like the action movie bit.
Is it much of an action movie though? Because I mean, literally all he does is he beams into Civil War.
Yeah, well,
goes about 10 foot along a beach, gets shot, and then just stumbles back to a rock and says goodbye.
It has the holodeck thing about it, and it's like, oh, fuck off, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. They're all dressed up. Oh, should we dress up and get our guitars out? Oh, no, it's just no. Didn't quite like that bit. I don't think.
Okay.
I think I was interested in the discovery and the mystery. Once the mystery's gone, then it's just time travel.
Mm.
It's just going to get someone and bringing them back.
Yeah. It's just a rescue mission.
Yeah, and it's all done then for me.
Interesting. So once the mystery's gone, that's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you need the mystery there of keep you guessing what's going on, wondering. I think that's the magic of it.
Okay. Dow? That's the sound of a man who's just woken up.
What
I
film were we
think I'll
doing this
try
week?
and sound wise.
No, actually, I just ran to the fridge and got some cheese to eat. So that's it's like, oh fuck!
I hope you brought enough for the rest of us.
I certainly have. It's grated, so you can have a strip each. Don't say I'm not.
Arc it in with a fucking grated cheese, Mr. Lardy Dar.
Hey, it's Creamfields. Nothing for the best for my lads. I'll tell you that now. The best cheap cheese out there.
Nice.
We're going to get that fucking sponsorship, guys. We really will. We keep
how
doing
do you-
it, okay?
How do you grate cream cheese?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
Well, it's a little bit messy. Right? It's a bit difficult. It's like trying to milk a gnat. You know, I mean, you got to get the
Oh, if
stool
only
under
you'd
there
said
first.
that to start with, I would have
There you go.
understood.
Well, you get it. I mean, you can picture it. What was the question again?
Given the story,
Yes.
which is about two paramedics,
Yes.
nihilistic output,
Yes.
nihilistic viewpoint,
Yes.
and rescuing the daughter,
Yes.
did the time travel need to be in the story? Did it actually need to be time travel? You're just eating cheese again, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. Yes. Yeah. Does it need to be time travel?
What I'm trying to say is the time travel, is it a MacGuffin or is it actually a reasonable plot point? Is it a vehicle for something, a message, or is it just there to go, look, we've thought up a clever way of doing time travel. By the way, here's a standard, version of Taken or something. I don't know.
Well, I think that it's a nice slant on it. That's it. It's like a lot of films. It's like with Star Wars. Do you really need it to be in space? You had a woman who was being held captive, and some blokes got together and went and rescued her, or tried to rescue her, in this fortress. You see, and then escaped in their rather large vehicle after disabling, the defences of said fortress. Oh, and the old geezer that was with him copped it when he got hit by a sword.
Spoilers!
There you go. You see, you can do that with just about any film, right? That's it.
Yeah, but we're not talking about any film. We're talking about a film by people who did Endless. So there's always a bit of thought in it. So I was just wondering whether
I think you can, but I think it'd be rather boring and run of the mill. This adds I think it adds an interesting aspect to it.
Okay.
See, it's still the same thing, teenager goes missing. Their life is, they feel as though it's a bit rubbish. They get into drugs and then suddenly end up in a situation that is like, oh fuck, what have I done? She ended up in a field, sort of, in the end, like most of us do when we go on a drug binge. In someone else's clothing, don't ask.
Still haven't got my tartan trousers back.
No, you still haven't got. You said, "Hey, that's not me. That's got them, mate. Nothing to do with me."
Mm-hmm.
They're probably still with the person that took them off you. So don't ask me to go and ask them though.
No.
That's enough. Put the block on that now. There we go. Just cornering that off and pushing it away. There we go. Wave everybody as we bury it like fucking Kirk Douglas in the fucking Vikings.
Go back to the film. Go back to the film. Pull it back.
Come back to the light. Come back to the light. What was the question again?
Oh, for fuck's sake. Jim.
No.
Cheese is taking
like I
effect
say,
now, isn't it?
It
It's really
has,
kicking
yes.
in.
It's really fucking kicking in. What? Red Leicester. Woo.
Yeah, cream cheese.
No, it's Cream Fields. That's the guys that make that, and it's very cheap cheese, but it tastes good.
Didn't they used to do dance music festivals?
That's
Creamfields?
Creamfields.
Yep, same thing. They're into cheese now. They've got into dairy products because the whole kind of rave in a field is, that business, the bottom's fallen out of it.
Fucking hell, they're like the Yamaha of cheese.
Yep. They are the Yamaha of cheese. They are the Daft Punk, or should I say more Craft Punk? Get it? No? Okay. Craft Dunkers. No? Nothing? Okay. Bong. Okay. Back to the film.
Oh, God.
God almighty. I think we might be wrapping it up soon. We've
Really?
gone well
No,
over the midnight.
I've got all this.
Sounds like you got a second wind, Darren. It's if like you had a little snooze in the middle.
I've got all this research material. I've got my pages together now, and
Jesus
man.
fucking Christ! You got fucking
Me
cream
notes.
cheese.
My notes.
Well, moving on. Jim.
Yes.
Dinosaurs, right? Okay.
Yeah. How does this relate to Jurassic Park, Jim?
Wookiees and Ewoks. Okay, now the Ewoks come from Endor, and Chewbacca comes from Kashyyyk.
Therefore, you must have quit.
He does. Yes.
Right. Okay. Jim. let Captain Cream Cheese have his moment. Did it need the time travel, do you think?
Well, you could take the time travel out and you just got a drama. But it's not just the time travel. It's what the sort of time travel is, because it isn't, I say, hopping in a DeLorean or a phone box or some sort of invention. It's slipping through time, of perceiving different times and realizing that all time is always happening.
Yeah.
And I think the point is kind of the time traveling in this is making you aware, or putting the idea in your mind that kind of, while your life might be just this sort of humdrum thing that's unspooling, as it is for the characters, actually every moment of that is forever.
Yeah. Which kind of then gives you a sense that the whole thing's predetermined.
Possibly. It's one of those things, it's kind of because he says it's like a tracks on an album. And it's kind of, you can jump to any track and it'll always be there. However, someone had to record the album, so when it was being made, it wasn't being predetermined.
Oh my God! Now we got a chicken and egg situation.
There you go. There it is.
There we go. Yeah,
Our consciousness is like the recording head,
right?
Traveling. When you take Synchronic, it's saying you can go back and revisit the bits you've recorded.
Right. Gotcha. To go and see your bitch ass conquistadors.
Is anyone else touching themselves now?
Darren is, but he's with bag of cheese.
You've only just started. I've been at that all night, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Especially when you speak, Elton. Talk to me more.
I'm going through hiccups at the moment, I'm afraid. So,
right.
Can I just ask, Elton, did you find anything of the lift scene kind of like unrealistic, considering your
God, you fucking pulled that pin.
You considering that is what your profession is, because
Dude,
I had a friend of
Wednesday.
I had a friend of mine watch Cliffhanger with like Sylvester Stallone there, and he was like, he didn't see it as a fun movie. He was like pointing out all the bits where it was inconsistent, and you can't jump across a crevice and use a couple of spiky hammer things to climb up a wall.
He was an expert then, was he?
Oh yeah, he was. Yeah. Look it up, man. Spiky
you can't
hammer
drop
things.
a raccoon. Oh no, hang on. That wasn't Cliffhanger, was it? That was
Cliff Richard.
No, what was the
No, that was Johnny Morris's Animal Disco.
Ace Ventura? That was
doesn't-
Ace Ventura.
They don't drop the beat; they drop the raccoon. Yeah. Any moment now? No. Okay.
Can anyone hear the wheels? Because I feel
rolling
they,
down the road on fire.
I was
What
going to exactly. I tell you what, Jim. While Darren is eating his cheese, and while Elton is drawing up a list of lift issues while also trying to deal with hiccups, do you have anything you would like to raise about the film that I haven't necessarily addressed by just talking about the same old bit of time travel bollocks?
I don't think so.
He says, looking at the time.
I have two things.
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it.
Okay, so the professor was killed off screen very conveniently. Was anyone jarred with that at all? Because that meant that they couldn't go back and make any more pills. Sorry, hiccups. Did that jar anyone?
No, it didn't jar me because it just the whole thing with the professor was beyond convenience. Beyond convenience, it was one of the problems I had with the convenience of the whole plot in places, which is I've gone to the one place that has Synchronic still. I've not made any more, and I happen to be standing right in front of the person who actually invented it, and it's the only stuff that's in the entire place.
Yeah.
It's like, right, that's convenient. Along with the, I've walked 5 feet in Civil War America and managed to find a lady who's been hidden in time for the last 7-8 days.
Mm-hmm.
But with the one thing I will say is it implied something else, which was that there is someone else who killed him to get the Synchronic. And that plot kind of hinted at itself and then didn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But then I don't know if that's just a method of filmmaking where it goes, you're not going to get all the answers. And the film was very good at doing that. You're not going to get all the answers. Just accept what you're being given.
Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. And two other things then. The ending and the starting. They both start with holding hands. So it opens on hands holding with the people in the hotel on the second floor. And it ends with
Hans Zimmer.
Frame.
Sorry.
Dennis and Steve holding hands through time.
Right.
So
I
nice
think
little circle there.
I think that's just a motif about connection.
Okay. Also, the 3 films of theirs that I've seen without hiccuping.
Yes.
I can't help it. I'm starting now. I can't help it. They all seem to finish very abruptly, almost before the film should have finished.
Right.
So Relentless films in a situation where you're like, and it's not resolved. Endless, I think it finishes the outside of a loop, I think it is.
Right.
And it kind of just finishes all of a sudden. Trying to get away from something, which we won't mention. And I think that kind of starts the thing again. But it's, oh my God, we're in the middle of something, and it ends the film.
Yeah.
And this felt like it was, they're shaking hands. Could he pull him through? I don't know. There's not quite an ending yet. It felt like the ending was, 10 minutes down the road.
I don't think you can have, and Jim, Darren, feel free to jump in on this one. I don't think you can have an ending that would be satisfying on that one.
I know, sorry.
The reason I say that is because if you think about it too much, sorry, if you think about it too much, you start to get to the point of like, after all the comments about racism, the allusions to racism throughout the whole film, with him going back to the Klan era, and then later on being called a slave and all this kind of thing in the Civil War thing, you then have him basically sacrifice himself for a white family and go back to the Civil War era effectively to die. If you want to read into it, you know, the weird politics of it all would really fuck things up if you actually stayed on that film for any longer than what it was already on, because you suddenly start thinking, well, where the fuck did he go? You know, what the fuck happened? And if you followed him through and found him back at the Civil War, he's either going to die of brain cancer or he's going to end up being captured by a bunch of racist fucking Southerners, or, you know, and taken away as a slave.
Yep.
Which isn't exactly the cheerful, upbeat, positive message that the film was trying to end on.
No.
I don't think. unless anyone else. So I think it was kind of, and that's what I was talking about earlier on with it being arty, and just suddenly going, look at the stars, and then, oh, look at the planet, look at the buildings upside down, and all this kind of thing. It's like, do the arty crash cut to finish, because if you didn't, the film followed a narrative line and says, you know, you either have to explain him getting back or have him go back to the old times. And if he gets rescued, he's going to die of cancer. If he goes back to the old times, he's getting killed or taken as a slave until he dies.
Well, no, he's dead anyway from the landmine.
Dead from the landmine?
Well, yeah. He's mortally wounded at that point, so he's going to die, and it will be he's like immediately. And as we know, there's no bringing him through. He can appear as an image, but that's it.
I didn't think he got hurt by the landmine. I thought the other bloke got completely turned into red mist.
Well, he did, but he was only a few feet away, so he's fucked up as well.
Right. Okay. Well, I missed that. I missed that kind of injury detail thing. Fair enough. So the abrupt ending on a handshake is about as positive as you can pull from that one, which is that.
Well, that's friends... it. There's no point because they're just going on. Let's go back to him and watch him just die in the fields.
Exactly.
But you know, that's where the story ends, though. You know what I mean? It ends with their. It's not just the rescue of the girl; it's the resolution of their friendship. And it's that last moment, and it's a goodbye. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the resolution of sort of like, I forgive you, and I've made a difference to your life as well, because you're going to try and get back with your wife now, and you know. Anyway,
nicely timed, Elton.
That's not Elton.
No,
I can do this at any time.
You fucker.
I can do this all day.
God damn it.
What was that, Elton? Anyway, right. I think we're going to leave it there. Yes.
God.
Anyway, I'll leave it there. We can leave Auto Elton on loop at this point. I think we'll leave it there. If anybody's got any feedback or recordings of their hiccups, then do feel free to send the feedback in to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com, or leave a message on the old Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast. Or you can catch me on Blue Sky, which is cartoonbeardy.bsky.social. That's that. You can leave a message, leave us some information, leave us a bit of feedback, leave us a sound effect of you going, and we can take it from there.
Or you can leave us a message detailing what your favourite cheese is.
Yes. Well, exactly. Favorite cheese or inconsistency with a lift. That's another thing. Right. Okay. So, next week's film. I think it's my pick, isn't it?
Yes.
Cool.
Looking at the list here, yes, it is. It's you, sir.
Fan-bloody-tastic. Okay, right, fine. After the last couple of weeks, I thought, well, we need another mind-bending movie, a film which is strange and weird and may need some explanation. There's one film I've been trying to find. I have never seen it. I will say that right now. But it is one that I wanted to see because I like the filmmaker. And it's kind of the missing piece in their oeuvre that I have not watched. And then I found it. Now, I found it on ITV. On ITV. So, unfortunately, we are onto ITV streaming services in the UK. It is available overseas on paying, but I won't say pay for it because, frankly, I have no idea what this film's like. The film is starring Jake Gyllenhaal.
Ooh.
Right. And it is directed by Denis Villeneuve.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is the poster yellow?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen it, have you?
No, I haven't seen it, no.
Okay. And it's not one for an arachnophobe, if I understand the poster.
Oh.
And so it's called Enemy. There you go. I have no idea what it's like. Literally no idea what it's like. But on lists of mind-bending, strange movie on Google, it does appear quite often. And I have been looking for it for a while. But it is on ITVX. Doesn't need premium. You can just watch it. And it is called, Enemy by Denis Villeneuve, starring Jake Gyllenhaal as a Toronto college professor bored by his daily routine, spots his own lookalike in a movie and develops an obsession to seek him out. That's all that's said. The poster happens to have an 800-foot high spider I have over a town. I have no idea what the significance of that is. Has anyone else seen this film?
No.
Fan-bloody-tastic, because that means we're all going to be sitting there going, what the fuck, together.
Mystery monocle, then, yes?
This is a definite mystery monocle. Like I say, it is available on ITV /ITVX in the UK. It is available on rent on other streaming services overseas, like Amazon. I think it's on Shudder, and I think it's on Apple. But for those of you who follow along with such things, don't pay for this, please, because I don't know what it's like. I really don't, and I don't want people sending me bills for rentals and time lost. This is purely a punt into the dark. So there you go, a complete mystery monocle, Enemy. That's going to be a strange one, I suspect. And I'm not going to look at anything else online about it because, like I say, I've seen one picture, and that's enough for me. Thanks very much. So, that's that. We will leave it there. Next week, we'll be back for that movie. But before we go, it's time for Pimping Corner. And what's happening over at Hypnagoria, Jim?
This week, I've just released a reading of a story of my own, which you can find on From the Great Library of Dreams.
Lovely. And that's over on hypnagoria.com.
It is indeed.
Lovely jubbly. And what about you, Elton? What's happening on Cars Going Round in Circles?
It's just the normal... God damn it. Normal thing of...
What?
Of Cars Going Round in Circles and Band of Brothers podcast. So, yeah, all over at rogue2media.com.
Right, brilliant. Dow, anything?
No.
Not your famous cheese podcast.
No, that's no.
No, let's not go there with any cheese jokes.
No, let's not.
No, there'll be debris everywhere. Right. Anyway,
damn man.
Gorgonzola. Anyway, I don't know. I was trying too hard. It didn't work. Right. So, I don't know what the phrase of pays is. Someone make something up. Don't matter.
Racist baby.
Racist baby. There you go.
Baby there.
Racist baby. Yeah, is your baby racist? Racist baby. So, that's it. We'll leave it there. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for getting this far, because it's going to be a bloody long podcast. And thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
No problem.
And, yeah, especially thank you for putting up to this time. I mean, fucking hell, it's midnight. So, we shall see you all next week for Enemy. Until then, take care. Tatty bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, it's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on.
I already came for a kebab.